What if I told you all it took was a pair to win it all?
Phil Ivey, the most famous gambler in the world, was accused of cheating casinos of multiple millions of dollars.
Ivy and a female accomplice.
My name is Chang Yin Sam. Everybody call me just Kelly.
Kelly's son is probably the most dangerous match player in the world right now.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
So I asked you guys yesterday how excited you actually were about the beginning of the NFL season. We detected that people weren't quite as excited about it as we thought they might have been. The overnight ratings for the game, I think they're down 10% from last year, seemed to give some level of indication that you guys were not that excited about football, but we got some football. Now, the other level of that was I was like, hey, man, you want me to get all excited about the start of the NFL season, and then you give me Alex Smith. You hustle backwards, my dude. And then, of course, that came to the perfectly reasonable observation that Alex Smith is a bit of a limited quarterback who doesn't really throw the ball down the field too much and is the mascot for the most mediocre of our American brethren. So Alex Smith threw for 368 yards, right? 368 yards. Can't knock a man for completing passes just because somebody's open. You can never get yourself into that sort of place. But Alex Smith put up 368 yards, much to the pleasure, by the way, of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. Like, honestly, I thought that Chris Collinsworth was calling the Little League World Series, and it was going to turn out that Alex Smith's mama's maiden name was Collinsworth. Like, I thought that there was some variety of kin. For some reason, the broadcasting profession has an affection for Alex Smith and a protection of him that is a little bit strange. And a whole lot of America also seems to go along with it on the exact same way, because I spent my whole night with people being like, yeah, what you got to say about Alex Smith now? Shannon, help me out here. How many 300-yard games does Alex Smith have in his career?
If this was his third one,
that's the third for a touchdown game.
Third for the 4 touchdowns. But I think 300-yard game, I think he's 7th, I want to say.
Yeah. This is his 13th year. Year 13. There's where we are with Alex Smith. So you give him credit for the game he had. You ain't about to be coming up in my face acting like you don't know damn well exactly who the dude is that I'm talking about when it comes to Alex Smith. Apparently, by the way, Andy Reid also knows who the dude is when we talk about Alex Smith, because we had Joe Banner. We had Joe Banner on a few months ago when he worked here, and I asked him a question about what the set of circumstances were around bringing in Michael Vick. And he said, well, a big part of why they brought in Michael Vick was that Andy Reid had this vision of what he had been trying to do for a while, which is basically to institute a college offense in the NFL. And he thought that Michael Vick would be the guy who would allow him to do that. I never really felt like the Andy Reid offense when Vick was there was really that much like a college offense. I never got that vibe. Yeah, this offense they ran last night, when I looked up and I saw a play that I know damn well that Urban Meyer, I don't know if they still run it at Ohio State, but I remember running that a lot at Florida, which is in effect a triple option where the snap comes to the quarterback, the tailback goes on the outside, and it leaves a shovel pass up the middle for the tight end. That is in effect the dive of the triple option. They ran that play about 4 or 5 times last night. We saw speed options from the Chiefs last night. Like, the Chiefs are really out here running a college offense in the sense that they're like, okay, so what we got is a bunch of little bitty fast dudes. So we need to find ways to allow our little bitty fast dudes to get the ball in space. They're out there running with that diamond offense where the quarterback's in the shotgun and you got these two backs like in front of him and to the sides. Like, this was truly like watching college. I don't say that as a good thing. I don't say that as a bad thing. I say that as we don't really see that in the NFL, or at least I don't have a recollection of seeing that. And them boys went out there and they put up 42 points on the Patriots. I suppose we'll talk a little bit later about what exactly the state of affairs is with the Patriots. But one time for the Kansas City Chiefs, because I figure we get the Patriots on opening night. This is going to be a quick one. They're going to have it at home. And it was real close to being a quick one. We thought they was about to go up 14-0 when Gronk had that pass in the end zone that he wound up letting hit the ground before he could bring it in. It looked like this was about to be light work. Chiefs looked bad on offense in the first half. Alex Smith out here dropping back and falling down. You got all your classic throwing short of the sticks and asking people to go make their own first downs. All of that stuff. There was nothing in the first half that I thought caused a legitimate room for optimism, except the score was a little closer than I think any of us thought that it would be at that point. And then Chiefs came out there and outscored them boys 28-10 in the second half. Like, it was thorough. It was thorough in the second half. And the Chiefs out here getting these dudes in these matchups. So, there was the one where there was the coverage bust, and my man was just wide open down the field, and Smith got it there. Because I remember watching Alex Smith rear back to throw the ball down the field, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Something must be wrong. And, yeah, kind of. Dude was butt naked open, standing there by himself. Got it. The one he threw to Tyreek Hill on the left side of the field. Hey, man, dude's open, but that was a good pass. Right? Like, that's just not one that you feel like anybody could just roll out of bed and make. That was a good pass. And, in fact, we got Andy Reid right here saying the Hill was like, oh, nah, bro, don't you worry. I got this one.
I give it to Alex and the receivers. I mean, it hadn't happened a lot to this team, so, to the Patriots. So it's a tribute to the guys for making it happen. Actually, Tyreek called the one that he ended up scoring on. He goes, I think I can get him on this one. So we called it, and he got him.
He's fast, by the way, Shannon. Like, his fast is undeniable.
Just like the confidence that Andy Reid had. It's like, yeah, Tyreek think he can get him here, so we went with it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Tyreek thinks he can get us. I mean, the only way they was really going to get it is if Tyreek did it. Hey, man, you kind of got to go out there and make your own touchdowns in that offense. But it was a lot. I mean, there was just so much that was going on. Also, Chad, I guess you probably didn't see this, but there was an interview before the game. They did one with Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce, Mike Tirico was out there and was like, hold on, let me put this water down right fast. And Mike Tirico was like, so tell us about how being named the captain changed your outlook. And Travis Kelce, who, by the way, Shannon, no longer has, the longer haircut that a jerk might have. Now he's got, the close cropped haircut that a jerk might have. And he's, by the way, the guy still wearing hoop earrings.
How we were able to find him?
I didn't know they were still in the league, right? So Kelce starts talking about, before the playoff game, Andy Reid named him the captain, and he said he was so overcome, and he said that helped him realize that he had to take take this approach differently, and he couldn't be the guy that was doing all the things that he used to do, and and everything else. During the game, Travis Kelce got himself a personal foul. How Travis Kelce get himself a personal foul? He was down on the bottom of the pile. He had the ball in his hand. He put the ball in somebody's crotch and then pushed up. Shannon, what's up with your mans?
That's my captain? What are the Chiefs supposed to say? Yeah, that's my captain right there.
That's leadership. There we go. That's your mans. That's your mans?
My mans. That's somebody's mans.
That's your mans.
That's Alex Smith's mans.
Hey, Alex, yeah. They are attached at the hip. We could definitely say that. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Chiefs defense brought it. Dude, Justin Houston. I feel like Justin Houston is one of those dudes where you get to list in all the best players in the NFL, and you don't remember Justin Houston if you're not watching the Chiefs, and then you watch the Chiefs, and you're like, damn, how did I forget about Justin Houston? He gave them the work. The first half, the Chiefs weren't really bringing much pressure. They did a lot of 3, drop 8. Second half, Justin Houston's like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now? And he gave them the work. Also, Shannon, Derek Johnson, still in the league.
Texas, baby, look at that. Got something to cheer about.
That's, great point. Great point. Way to hold it down for Texas, Derek Johnson. We had a very, very difficult week and change here. I was on the internet today. Saw some people talking about football. It was my man Spencer. It was Holly Anderson. And then Scott Van Pelt jumped in and said something about Texas, talking about they lost to Kansas. And I couldn't say nothing back because, Scott Ryan from Maryland, what I'm going to say to that now? Even Scott Van Pelt and Dominique Foxworth get to talk noise to me about college football right now. But no, Derek Johnson still in the league. He's still out there. Also, Shannon, did you know Brandon Cooks was that short? I got to admit, I didn't realize Brandon Cooks was that short.
Like I said yesterday, he's a weapon. He's a threat.
He is a weapon.
He's a weapon. He's a threat.
He also looks like a dude you don't want any problems with because he is listed at 5'10", and I don't believe that 5'10", because he lifts weights like 5'8" guy. 5'8" guy. 5'8" guy's in that bad boy. It's 2017. 5'8" guy walking around with the leather weight belt on like he's superstar Billy Graham. Like, I saw him there. I was just like, oh, yeah, no. Brandon Cooks. Also, let me see where they say Brandon Cooks is from. Brandon Cooks went to Oregon State. Oh, Shannon, but he's from Stockton, California. I feel like this is a gentleman with whom you want no problems. It doesn't sound like there's that straight line to go to Oregon State. Because why would anybody do that?
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
We've been asking you guys to tell us about the day that you realized you didn't want to play football no more. It's provided some delightful stories that allow us to laugh at your misery, but in most cases, you guys have been laughing at your own misery long before. That's why you're so excited to call up and tell us your stories. Let's hit the phones and talk to Deshaun in Georgia. Deshaun, thanks for calling The Right Time.
Yeah, what's up, Bomani, man? Love the show.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, so first of all, my first memory of football was the 98 Super Bowl. My brother's dad played receiver for the Denver Broncos. So that was the first memory I ever had of football. So, I was never a big fan, but I went out and tried. Freshman year in high school, I go on the field. Coach tells me, we're going to try you out at tight end. Now I'm about 6 foot, but I only weigh like $140, $150 in high school. But we're going to try you out as a receiving tight end. Okay, that's fine. Do whatever I get on the field. First game. And he didn't tell me that I was going to be blocking. So I go up against the defensive end. Dude's about 6'3", good 220. So, I get off the line. I'm blocking him. Next thing I know, he punches me in the face mask. Like, bare fist punches me in the face mask. I look at him. I said, what are you doing? He starts laughing. So I go back to the sideline. Hey, I'm never doing that again. So then it was one practice. I go on the out route. Ball's thrown low. Cornerback comes, gets me from the back. My neck snaps. Helmet kind of partially flies off. So I just take it off. I drop it on the field. Coach comes up. Hey, what you doing, man? What you doing? Practice not over with. I said, it's over for me, man. I see you on the baseball field. I can't do this. He said, we'll try it out again. Just give it one more try so next game comes. There was only one play called for me the whole season. One play the whole season. Parents in the crowd, everything. We're on the 10. I run a little comeback route, sending the end zone wide open. Quarterback throws the ball straight to the linebackers. I said, you know what? I'm out. This ain't for me. I can't get a touchdown. Y'all punch me in the face. I got my own teammates laughing at me because he almost took my head off like that was a big thing. I said, forget this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'll leave this to my brothers, and they did it. I'm good. Super Bowl, I'll never play in one. I'm done.
Well, hey, Deshaun, I appreciate the call. And Shannon, what I love about that is it wasn't just the physical, it was the mental.
He was done with all of it.
Yeah, he's like, hold up, I don't even get the ball. Like, the one time I got a chance, you throw an interception? No, I quit. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So, guys, the Patriots' offense did not look very good. I don't know how much of that had to do with Julian Edelman. I do know that I have Chris Hogan on my fantasy team, and I would like to thank him for absolutely nothing. Tom Brady was a robust 16 for 36. That is one of the worst games of his career with regards to completion percentage. And he just didn't look good. Like, the balls deep that he was throwing, they didn't really look that good. You saw him get a little jumpy in the pocket once the pressure started coming. He didn't look that great. By the way, I'd like to make a point for you guys. Would you guys like to hear my point? Would you like to hear my point? Okay. Now, I'm not going to come out here today and get on the Tom Brady is old and so forth and so on, like everything has changed overnight, because you need more data points before you can make that sort of conclusion. I have had a game in my life where I watched Tom Brady have this kind of performance against the Chiefs. It was, I believe, the year 2014, and I wound up looking foolish when the Patriots wound up winning the Super Bowl. Nah, man, I'm not saying Tom Brady is finished. I'm not. However, it makes the same amount of sense to say that Tom Brady is finished after that game as it does you fools trying to jump down my throat about Alex Smith because he finally had one game worth a damn. Shannon, can you tell I'm tired of it?
knew you were tired of it before we even talked about today's show. I knew it was coming.
I was tired of it before he even started playing well last night. Like, I was tired of it while people were trying to rationalize him being not so good when he was actually playing worse than that. Anyway, you get my point on that. Here is Tom Brady says he wasn't so pleased with the performance last night.
I think it's just better execution. I mean, we just, situational football is always important to us, and short yardage and a lot of things that we need to do a better job of. So it was pretty just a very poor effort. We just have to be a lot better in a lot of areas, starting with our attitude and our competitiveness, and we have to do a lot better tonight.
Now, one thing, as I say, I'm not about to get on the train right now with Tom Brady is old, is crashing down, and everything else. But I did feel like in that game, the Patriots treated him like he's old in a way that I don't recall seeing. And the way I felt like the Patriots treated him like he was old was, hey, man, Tom Brady on the quarterback sneak has been pretty much impossible to stop for his whole career. They had 2 4th and 1s where they went to Mike Gillislee and did not go to Tom Brady. And I'm like, so why not? All right? Like, we're not talking about putting him out there to run the power option. Just go in there and run the sneak. Why not? Like, are y'all afraid the old man's going to break? I believe that is a fair question to ask. But no, I didn't know what to make of the offense, and their defense was, yikes. Yikes. And see, the problem with the Patriots defense is you don't ever really know anybody's names or who's actually good. Like, we're really dependent upon the broadcasters because the Patriots are like the Alabama of the NFL, just a nameless, faceless machine, man. Roll one in, roll one out. That's all they do. They looked bad. And there was just no way around that. But to be fair to the Patriots, if you get caught in situations where you got to have a linebacker on Tyreek Hill, is there a linebacker in the NFL that can do that? Right? Like, can you name a linebacker in the NFL who is capable of doing that? So I wonder how much of that is just a matter of giving credit to the Chiefs and to Andy Reid for figuring out a way to get them dudes on the outside to make things happen. But then just on the other side, they didn't look good. Gronk didn't look good. Granted, he had Eric Berry on it for much of the game. Gronk didn't look good when he was out there. Like, who played well for the Patriots? Who can say that? And I understand if he's on your fantasy team, you're going to be like, Mike Gillislee. I mean, he might score some touchdowns, but I don't know if he played well. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. You boys calling in talking about what made y'all decide to quit football. Let's start to Devin in Pennsylvania. Devin, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, thanks, Bomani. I grew up in like a little hillbilly town in the middle of nowhere. So freshman year, my school and another school comes together to make up what looks like a football team. So I join, I learn all the basics and good stuff. And of course I didn't know all the upperclassmen in my school yet because I just got to the high school. So field day rolls around, which is basically kids do what they want outside day. And of course what do kids do with limited adult supervision? They do things they're not supposed to, which includes play padless tackle football. So, I'm rolling kids over. Even though I'm a freshman, I'm sitting about 200 pounds. I outweigh everybody. Then there's another kid on the other side who walks up. I still have about 40 pounds on him. He comes at me, and I, of course, square up like I'm supposed to, lower my shoulder like I'm supposed to. And all of a sudden, it feels like a cinder block gets swung into my chest as his shoulder rams into me. Looking up at the sky about a second later, and then his foot lands on my chest, and I didn't at that point in time know that your sternum could reach your spine, but I figured that out pretty quick. And I walk around the rest of the day with a footprint on my chest, only later to find out from some of my friends that other kid is a all-state wrestling champion who just pals around wherever he pleases. I later go to the other school. My coach knows none of this. And I just handed myself, and I said, Coach, I'm just going to go throw javelin. It's fine. And he's entirely confused because he wasn't even there.
It's funny about that, and I appreciate the call. Everybody's already got something else they're going to do. I don't know why y'all didn't do that first.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Cam Stewart will join us next segment with his NFL picks. Redhead is back, man. We also taking your phone calls the day you realize you need to quit playing football. In fact, let's take one of those right now. Andy in Minnesota, thanks for calling the Right Time.
How you doing, Bomani?
Doing all right.
So this isn't actually my last day of football, but I was part of somebody else.
Okay.
From a little farming town just Central Pennsylvania, and this kid had transferred in from somewhere in North Carolina. Played for the school right next.
Yep, that phone call ended. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. All right, last night we had our first NFL game of the season. Now we got the first weekend. Kind of an interesting slate of games, though I would not say that it is a great slate of games. I think Cowboys-Giants, I think, is one that people are going to look forward to. Let me see what else we got here that's halfway interesting. Shannon, are you excited about the Jaguars and the Texans?
That's a compelling quarterback matchup. Can't wait for that.
Jets and the Bills. All right, now Oakland and Tennessee. I think that one is legitimately interesting. That one, Baltimore-Cincinnati, I can convince myself of that one. And then we got the Seahawks and the Packers, which I imagine is probably the most interesting game that we've got of any of those. They also seem to play a lot. Let us not forget that we had the game with the substitute teachers playing referee. Remember that one? Right? We had some playoff games between these. Like, this is one of those rivalries that's become a bit of a rivalry just because of the quality of the football. And, Shannon, we will get both Bennett brothers. We will get Martellus, and we will get Michael, and, we will get the joy of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman talk about Michael Bennett sitting on the bench while the national anthem plays. Yeah.
As much as warranted as the matchup itself could be, how can you not make the Bennett brothers the focus here, at least going into it?
Well, I mean, number one, they're the most interesting. They're as interesting as anything we got going in the league. Number two, well, not even number two. I'm going to go on a tangent here. You know the whole thing about Kaepernick or whatever is not about the anthem? You know how? Because the first time Kaepernick did something, he sat down during the anthem. That's when all the attention came, and then he went and met with Nate Boyer and some other servicemen before they played that game in San Diego, and then he began to kneel because kneeling was to show a level of deference, right? Like that was supposed to be the middle ground. Shannon, Michael Bennett ain't kneeling. Michael Bennett is just sitting over there. I'm surprised he don't put on headphones. Right? Like, I feel like we've been like, that's all Michael Bennett needs to do at this point is he need a camera shot of him, and then all of a sudden you hear, and you can tell everybody. And he puts the headphones on, block the noise out, Beats by Dre. Because he's like, there is no deference. There's none of those things. Not at all. Michael Bennett had to actually get into a situation with the cops for people to be mad about it. But that's how you know the anthem part is not that. It's a part, but not really. But there's a lot of like little things on this one. We got Eddie Lacy. A whole lot of people, by the way, are playing their first game with their new teams against old teams. Like Adrian Peterson is going to be playing against the Vikings in his first game with the Saints. Eddie Lacy going to be up there playing against Green Bay. Like, oh, man, all my favorite restaurants.
All the cheeses.
Yes. I have all the. I can't get cheese like this back in Seattle, bruh.
Don't have sausages like this in the Pacific Northwest.
Coffee just don't do the trick. But we also, how do you think this was going to go? Because, like, the Packers, the thing about the Packers is because of Aaron Rodgers, we're always going to view them as some measure of, like, contender going into the year because the quarterback is that important and they have the best quarterback on planet Earth right now. At the same time, when's the last time the Packers had a team that was, like, really good? Is it that 2014 team that went to the NFC Championship? Is that the last one that we feel like we would say was, like, really good? Because I feel like they're a team that every year has a puncher's chance. And a puncher's chance is all you can ask for in a lot of ways, but I feel like they are a team with a puncher's chance, but rarely do I feel like they're a team that's really good. And that's in large part because I could go get 10 dudes out of this building that I'm in right now, and chances are we'll find a way to throw the ball against the Packers. Like, I'm looking at their defensive stats from year to year. Basically, they could be good at stopping the pass. They could be good at stopping the run. They don't really do a whole lot of it where they're good at both of them. Like, that's not really their steez. They're like, look, man, you can't serve two masters. Like, that seems to be the way it goes with them. It has gone now for, like, years. Like, that's what they do. They're going to stop one facet of what you do, but they're not going to stop anything else. You get on the other side with Seattle, and Shannon, we get the joy of watching Tom Cable try to turn 5 dots into an offensive line.
Not to mention the starting left tackle is out for the year.
Who, Fetty? Is it German Fetty? I mean, does it matter? Like, unless it's, what's his name, Walter Jones, I feel like it doesn't matter who it is that Seattle has on the offensive line. So what they do, they go out there and just have a camp where they brought in a bunch of bouncers, and we're like, okay, which one of y'all can I turn into an offensive lineman? Like, that's basically, the Seattle Seahawks offensive line is a reality show. It's like that 4th and Long show that they had about trying to make it as a receiver for the Cowboys, except I feel like they rolled on the dice with some very important, equipment.
George Faint is the left tackle.
Oh, really?
Hurt in the preseason, yeah. Suffered a knee injury.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Who else they got on the offensive line? Debo on the offensive line? Like, I just think about, like, random characters in life that we could pull out and be like, that's where they – Big John Stud, is he playing on their offensive line? Big John Stud, is he he's not?
No.
I apologize. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Our guest join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just like our next guest, we have him on every week during the NFL season to give us his picks. He's my man out of Toronto. Check him out, AM 570 up there. His name is Cam Stewart. Cam, you ready, man?
I'm ready, Bomani. Sorry, I had to duck into the supermarket. I didn't make it to the studio between shows, so I hope everything's okay. But I got a relationship with the butcher. He gives me a great deal for this weekend's barbecue. I'm fired up for college and the NFL. Let's rock, buddy.
All right, let's go. Check this out. We got Eagles. We've got Washington. The Eagles are a 1-point favorite playing on the road. That kind of counts as a home dog for Washington, right? Kind of. Which way you going?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Bomani. When you look at the Eagles, you're thinking, wow, you think about a home field advantage, but they actually play better football on the road. I really like Carson Wentz this year. I think him and Zach Ertz are going to have a great chemistry. As for Washington, I think this team is going to gel a little bit later, but at the start, a horrible preseason. They look bad on offense. They look brutal on defense. And I'll tell you, the new additions, losing Garçon, a veteran in the room, I think is going to affect these guys early. It's going to be an interesting game, but I really, really like the Eagles to get it done on the road, and it's basically a pick 'em, so sign me up with the other dirty bird, the Eagles.
Yeah, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the Right Time. All right, Falcons and Bears. All right, now the Falcons, we know last year was kind of crushing. I know you keep those kinds of things in mind when you make picks, but they're 7-point favorites on the road. Are you pounding the home dog?
Yeah, you know what it is, Bomani? It's one of those games, and people are telling me I'm crazy. And when we're going to do the segments, I'm bound to take the dog. But sometimes an interesting stat, too. The Super Bowl losing teams since 2000 against the spread, 2-15 in their openers. I'm not going to say Chicago are going to be world beaters. They got Mike Glennon at quarterback. They still do have some weapons, but I expect them to compete. Atlanta's, they're great at home, nice, quick offense, the tempo. Against in Chicago, I don't think it's going to be as smooth. I actually think this is going to be a very, very tight game where Atlanta squeaks it out. You're giving me a converted touchdown with the Bears. Even in some places, I'm seeing 6.5. So I'm telling you, I think Chicago hangs around, and give me the Bears. They call me Orso Grande. I'm going with my namesake, the Bears.
By the way, I have not talked to you since the Super Bowl, and I cannot remember. Did the Falcons do you wrong?
Actually, I had them. Yeah, I had them on the spread, Bomani, but thank God I teased them too. But it would have been a disaster. I know my bar. I was working at a bar gig. The owner of my bar, he's a big-time gambler. He had New England first half or whatever. The guy was down like $15K. He won $45K in the second half, hit everything with the Patriots in the comeback. But I'm telling you, lots of sad people. I was cheering for Atlanta. I'm not going to lie to you. When the Patriots lost last night, I had a smile on my face. I was with Kansas City. I just wish I didn't tease it to the under. Should have just took the chef straight up. But what a crazy way to start the season, buddy. We haven't seen a team like that go down, and about 10% of survivor picks, I think, are down the toilet, too. A lot of people love New England.
All right, we're talking to Cam Stewart on the Right Time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Jaguars and Texans. The Jaguars are on the road. They're 6-point underdogs. Are you taking them?
Yeah, Bomani, this is going to be an unpopular pick like a lot of stuff, and I'll probably get it on Twitter, but this is the thing about the Jaguars. Guys at my work, too, at the Fantasy Sports Network, like Houston's a lock. Not so fast. The Jaguars, last year, with the same quarterback, Blake Bortles, on the same team, but not as good of a defense, they lost by 1 point and 3 points. So in those two games versus the Texans, 4 points combined. I understand the story of Houston, and God bless everybody down there. I hope, I'm proud of what J.J. Watt's done and everybody for chipping in, but these guys have a lot on their minds. I know the Jaguars aren't world beaters, but a tough, tight game. Savage versus Bortles. I see a lot of defense on both sides of the ball here. And 6, it's a lot to cover. So, wow, give me the Jaguars. Won't be hearing that too much, but I think they cover that number.
All right, now let's talk about what's going on in Nashville. Raiders and Titans. The Titans are 2-point favorites at home. Which way are you going?
Yeah, my buddy Joe's going to that game, and I'll tell you, for all the people who go out to Nashville, what a beautiful city. It's a lot of fun, and I really like Tennessee in this spot. The line right now, it's 2, and people are originally liked Oakland in this game. This is a big revenge spot for the Titans. I know a lot of people are high on Mariota and fantasy. I am too. Corey Davis from Western Michigan, loved him in college. Two-headed beast at running back. And as for the Raiders, they won a lot of squeakers last year, Bomani. I think they're a decent team, but a lot of people are talking AFC Championship game. I don't see it. That defense still has holes. Tennessee also revenge spot. 3 huge turnovers in that loss to the Raiders by a touchdown last year. Give me the Titans at home. Hey, they win by a field goal. We cover. I'm on Tennessee.
All right, talking to Cam Stewart of the Fantasy Sports Network here on the right time, getting his NFL picks. All right, Monday night, we got the Adrian Peterson polls. Saints and Vikings. Vikings, 3.5-point favorites at home. Which way you going?
Hey, Bomani, I'm really high on the Vikings this year, just not in week 1, and I love the angle with Adrian Peterson. I also will tell you about the Saints. They're a team, I think, that is getting disrespected by Vegas at the start of the year. Let's remember, defensive starters last year, they had the most out. They were banged up. They had second and third stringers going week after week. Kenny Vaccaro's back. Good drafts. We love Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. What can we say about this team? We're going to score. But the one thing about the Saints that people aren't going to realize is their defense can't be any worse than last year. It's a hell of a lot better. We're getting 3.5 points. And as for Minnesota, I like their defense, but that offense, it's going to have some little problems to get clicking. I get over a field goal in this game. So give me the hook. Give me the Saints at plus 3.5.
All right, Dr. Cam Stewart on the right time, getting his NFL picks. You played any of the prop bets this year?
Yeah, well, last night it was great. We had Kareem Hunt and over total yards, Bomani. I couldn't believe he was going to set a rookie record there with the great Billy Sims. That was fantastic. I can't lie, though. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I thought Hogan would get more than 3.5 catches. He ended up running the ball for the Patriots, not scoring. But my one prop, and this is not a homer bet, Bomani, you know me for a long time. I am a Seahawk fan, so I have to tell people that. But if you're looking for a real dark horse at MVP, just looking at value, Russell Wilson at 12-1, why not? He looks trim. He looks angry. The one problem, the Seahawks offensive line, George Fant is out, but if they find a way to patch that up, he's going to be leaner. He's going to be running more. And you know what? I see huge things for him this year. Russell Wilson looks like a man possessed. He's got a little bit of anger, not that cuddly teddy bear. He's got something in his eye that says, I want to destroy teams. So I'm just looking for a value perspective. I know people will talk about Brady and Rodgers and everybody else, but at 12-1, Russell Wilson, I think he's going to light it up for the fantasy world this year and in the reality world. Give me Russell Wilson, 12-1 MVP.
I got to say, I need to see the angle you're looking at Russell Wilson where you see all that fury because he tries to hide that at all times.
He does, Bomani, but you've seen him. Like, I watched a lot of those Seahawk preseason games with Warren Moon. We get all the channels here, and there's something different about him this year. I think he was very dissatisfied the way they went out to the Falcons. This was a guy that was putting on a little bit of weight. He looks leaner, meaner. Also, with Seattle, you get Earl Thomas back. That's going to help out everybody. I think this is a team on a mission. They understand their window it's now or never for them. They want to get back there. I expect a big year for the Seahawks before things start to trend downward. So, hey, I believe in the offense. Doug Baldwin is an underrated touchdown machine, and they'll figure it out with running back by committee. So I'm just saying, when you look at guys who are 2-1, 4-1, 6-1, I get a world-class player at 12-1. I'm just saying exceptional value for a guy that could be there in the voting.
All right, that is Cam Stewart. Check him out every week with us here to get his NFL picks. Before we let you go, man, let the people know how they can find you.
Hey, Bomani, you can find me at Cam Stewart Live on Twitter. By the way, met a lot of your fans when I was down in Vegas, basically living there for 2 weeks. I was at the Horse Book, and a guy recognized my voice, goes, hey, I heard you on the right time with Bomani Jones. So we hit it off there. It was fantastic. Also doing some stuff at AM 640 in Toronto, a couple other stations, and I am the rep for Pizzaville, Bomani. So if you ever come up to Canada, I can hook you up with a couple free pies, and good luck with everybody with their fantasy picks and betting picks, and let's hit some winner this week, and I'll catch you next week, my friend.
I knew that friendship would pay off with pizza, but man, you have a good one.
Have a good one, Bomani. Have a great day, and hope your picks go great this weekend.
All right, I appreciate it, man. All right, 888-729-3776, Shannon, Pizzaville. Remember that. You go up there and be like, yo, I'm with Cam. I also said that man's radio station Raw Life 4 times.
We got it right, though.
Pizzaville, though. I'm going to know that forever. Pizzaville.
The right time with Bomani Jones.
So as you may have heard last night, Chiefs, I don't know if they beat the brakes off of the Patriots. The breaks feels a little bit excessive, but they did give them some work. At the very least, I think we need to come up with a hierarchy of our various levels of slang on when somebody gets beat. So, I feel like beat the brakes off of somebody, that is a step short of a mollywhopping, which is a little bit short of Peter roll, which is below beat 'em down. Right? Then you got your little classifications like the 50 piece, the 40 ounce, those sorts of things. Anyway, Chiefs gave the Patriots the beats. Serious question. How many poor performances would the Patriots have to roll out there before you got worried? And I guess worry becomes its own sort of term when we're discussing them, because I don't know what in the world they'd have to do for us to think that they weren't going to win that division. For them to not win the AFC East, the only thing I figured they could do was go 6-10. Because 7-9 will get the job done. I feel like 7-9 will get them where they need to be. 6-10, okay, maybe it might be a little bit dicey. But what's it going to take? Because they didn't look like a good football team yesterday. Now, of course, we're going to have, week 1, what a team is going to look like even in week 3 is only going to have but so much to do with how they looked in week 1. So there's a chance for them to put this together, and I believe the announcers were telling us very much about the Patriots putting different people in new places, and they just got to figure out where they are and so forth and so on and everything else. Okay. We love that. We respect that. We understand that. But what would it take for you to worry? Because Brady looked bad. I had people trying to tell me that Tom Brady did not look bad yesterday. They're like, well, he didn't have any turnovers. Dude, 16 for 36. That's bad, guys. That's bad. There's no way around that. In the way the passes looked that he wasn't connecting on, those looked bad. We always talk about how, if you give Brady time in the pocket, that he's going to stop and he's going to figure out what it is to do. Okay. He completed 46.7% of his passes against a 3-man rush. So that means you're giving him all the time in the world. He couldn't find anybody to throw the ball to. Trying to throw the ball to the tight ends. Throwing the ball to the tight ends did not work. Brandon Cooks had that big play, the 54-yarder, so we can't say that they didn't make anything happen. But they just didn't look good. And I don't know how much of that is not looking good just as, you had an off night. But for all the noise that we talk about the Patriots, these sorts of things supposedly don't happen to them. Let us tell it, right? We hold them according to a standard that is not the same for anybody else. How many games would the Patriots have to lose? What kind of record would they have to be? If they rattled off 1-3, are you worried? 1-4, are you worried? Because I'm not going to lie. 1-3, I'm probably not worried. But if it's 1-3 and Tom Brady looks bad in, say, 3 out of the 4 games, then do you worry? Because the problem we got with Tom Brady is ain't nobody going to be the one trying to get in front of the train and say, this is the year that he's going to look bad. We're going to jump on it after the train is already going and sputtering, and then we'll be like, Tom Brady is getting kind of old. No, Shannon, didn't he say he wanted to play till he was 65 or something? And people were acting like it was possible?
Essentially, Tom Brady wants to play forever.
Yeah, but I think he said 45 was the number that he threw out there, and people were really out here entertaining that like that's something that you can bet on happening. Right? They really out there, I think Tom Brady can get it done. So if Tom Brady comes out here and has 3 of his first 4 games, he's looking bad and he's looking a little bit old. Do you worry? Now, new fun question. And, guys, I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is purely an intellectual exercise. I'm not trying to start any level of controversy. If you start a controversy off of this, you're doing it your damn self. Shannon, how bad would Brady have to look for how long before Belichick goes to the bullpen? What would it take?
Like on a part-time basis or for good, like the real closer?
Like the quarterback is all holed up, and I think we need to try to shake things up. How bad would it have to get? Anybody else on that roster would be susceptible to this, right? How bad would it have to get before you decide you going to Garoppolo?
Do your job.
Oh, that's how you go straight there, huh?
Isn't that the Belichick and the Patriots slogan, right? Do your job.
Do your job. That's right. So how poor a job would Tom Brady have to do before they made the decision to go to the Oak, right? So, again, we are going to see what this team turns into. One advantage that you have from playing that first game of the year on a Thursday is now you get 10 days before your next game. And, look, if the Patriots' defense was a problem, then they going to have real problems next week because next week is in the Dome in New Orleans. If their defense is an issue, oh, buddy, they are going to have a problem, right? But I guess in the week, everybody gets to learn some schemes, see what's going on the board. I have no idea what it is. So we're not going to panic about the Patriots losing the game. We're not going to flip out because the Patriots are 0-1. But when's the last time you saw the Patriots give up 42 points? Because I do not believe that has happened in the era of Bill Belichick. I don't think they've given up 42 points at any other time in this. You look at their defense, how many great players are we looking at on that defense? How much just flat out talent are we talking about them having on defense? What is this going to be? Because that second half was disheartening. I think that's the way I would look at it if I were an actual Patriots fan. It was disheartening. Disheartened Bill Belichick, too. He said they weren't competitive anywhere. Nope, not at all.
We didn't really do much of anything well enough tonight to deserve to win. We gave up 42 points, stopped on 4 short yardage plays. Got to coach better, got to practice better, got to play better. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, that's obvious. We'll have to get back to work and see if we can improve pretty much everything. Just not good enough. Andy, Kansas City did a good job. Give them credit. But we just really weren't competitive enough, especially on offense and defense. Just made too many mistakes and didn't play well on top of that. Fundamentals weren't good enough. Really nothing was good enough. So we all got to do a better job. That's going to be pretty much the answer to every question because that's what it was.
I love how he lets you know now. There you go. I've just answered every question you have.
He named everything. Yeah, we weren't good on offense. We weren't good on defense. The pregame meal really wasn't that good.
No. He said we weren't good enough, especially on offense and defense. I understand special teams is another phase, but when you say especially on offense and defense, my dude, that's especially on everything. I don't feel like especially is necessarily the appropriate way that you would go about talking about that under those circumstances. By the way, how unpleasant must he be the week after a win? Because he don't seem like, week after a loss, because he don't seem like much fun the week after a win. Right? I just can't imagine what it's like walking into the building after losing the game with Belichick. Because walking in after winning the Super Bowl, time to get back to work. We have things to do. Can't rest on your laurels.
What was one of the things that Nick Saban, a former assistant of Belichick, said? Saban, after winning the national title, was like, what? He was upset because that took away a day from him recruiting?
That's right. But at least there's recruiting. In the NFL, Belichick is just kind of like, yeah, okay, after the Super Bowl, I'll be happy for 15, 20 minutes. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We've been letting you boys call in and tell us about the day that you realize you need to quit playing football. Let's hit the phones and talk to Tony in Massachusetts. Tony, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, what's going on, Bo? Shannon?
Yes,
How
sir.
you guys doing? Hope everything's well.
Yes, sir.
So I'm from a small school in Kentucky, and this is leading up to football. I actually just played soccer and track and stuff like that. I was pretty well built, 5'9", 165. So this is the first and last year that I played football, but we had a full-on scrimmage, offense versus defense. Now I played corner. And I noticed before the snap that our running back was actually in the slot, and the wide receiver was in the running back position. So when they snapped the ball, they tossed it to the opposite side, and then ran a reverse handoff to the running back. And then I got off the block, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get this guy behind the line of scrimmage. Bomani, this man hit me so hard that my helmet fell off. Now, that's not even the craziest part. He knocked my shoe off, and I didn't even notice it until somebody said something because I was I was seeing stars, I'm pretty sure I got a concussion from that hit. And to let you know, that man who hit me was Sean Alexander.
Oh!
Yeah. So, like I said, that was the first year and the last year that I played football. I went and took my behind back to soccer.
I think you made the right decision, my brother, and I appreciate the call. Sean Alexander, that eyebrow came through and got you.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
We got it. We finally have it. Ezekiel Elliott has won an injunction from a Texas court. The NFL cannot impose his suspension for the duration of the lawsuit, so in all likelihood, Zeke will play all season without that suspension being imposed. Gotta say, just for the spectacle of it, a little bit disappointing. Why I'm a little disappointed? Because I couldn't think of a scenario under which you knew a suspension was right around the corner, right? Like, it would basically, if you would have known that Zeke's suspension was coming, Shannon, that whole game for him would have been like 25th hour. How many carries you think they would have given him knowing they ain't have to worry about him playing for 6 more weeks?
All the carries.
All of them. He'd have been like, what's it like to be Earl Campbell? You're about to find out. Left. Right here, as he sitting there doing that feed me. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. No, you're not finished.
Don't forget the gravy.
46 carries for Ezekiel Elliott. What a workhorse. Oh, what about no more? Oh, no more. So there it is. I thought we'd seen enough of a track record to indicate that this sort of thing would happen. Basically, players have been able to demonstrate that simply not being able to play a game, just being paid, right, like being put on the commissioner's exempt list or getting the money back or whatever it is, does not account for the facet of these decisions that comes to irreparable harm. So the Star Caps, they demonstrated that. We had a couple other ones where irreparable harm was demonstrated from the idea that you would not be able to play beyond simply being able to get the money back. So, no, I'm not terribly surprised that Zeke is going to wind up playing from here on out. This does, of course, have a big effect on the landscape in the NFC. I understand that there's also a larger matter of the allegation of domestic violence. I don't have any idea what in the world I'm supposed to do with that case. Because, a whole lot of stuff happened when I was off work while that went on. But I look at that whole thing being like, man, y'all got to throw this whole thing out, right? So the only investigator that actually talked to Zeke says, no, I don't believe that his accuser is to be believed. And then the NFL still gives him 6 games, which sounds like the NFL had decided from the very beginning that they were going to give him 6 games. And then you wind up with the complex thing. Lisa Friel, the woman at the NFL that's in charge of these things, as we found out during the Josh Brown thing, she is such a big Giants fan that she basically has a basement that is dedicated to her love of all things Giants. That came up because Josh Brown, got a 2-game suspension. But then, Shannon, you NFC East people, you got to wonder how that goes on the other side. There also have been previous allegations of prosecutorial misconduct against her. There's a lot going on there if anybody really wants to talk about how fundamentally shaky all the NFL stuff is, but we typically don't do that. And by the way, speaking of Josh Brown had his 2-game suspension that was imposed last season extended to 6 games. Josh Brown does not currently play in the NFL. And I would like to read for you, by the way, the NFL statement about this 6-game suspension for Josh Brown, who does not play in the league, and I will read it to you word for word. The NFL notified Josh Brown that he will be suspended for the first 6 games of the 2017 NFL season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. In August 2016, Brown was suspended for the first game of the 2016 season after an investigation into an incident on May 22nd, 2015 with his then wife. Shannon, let's stop and take a moment and think what it must have been like for Josh Brown when he got the phone call at whatever time this morning when they called him, because from what I can tell, he ain't got nothing to wake up and do, right? Right? He's at his crib by himself, pillow all up on his face, hello. Hey, Josh, it's Raj. Who? Roger Goodell. Hey, just need to let you know that your suspension has been... What do you mean my suspension has been extended? I don't have a job. Like, how mad would you be if you were Josh Brown and you got that phone call?
I wonder if Josh Brown actually officially retired, whether or not he would have gotten this suspension.
But see, I feel like kickers never officially retire because you never know when somebody's going to need a kicker, right? So, yeah, he gets this phone call. He's not even in the league. This happens. And this is what the NFL said about this. They say in October 2016, the King County Sheriff's Office announced publicly that it had closed its investigation in connection with the 2015 incident. As part of its report, however, the Sheriff's Office released a volume of documents from its investigation. Those documents, which previously had been withheld from the public and the NFL, contained information regarding a series of other incidents separate from the May 2015 incident. Shannon, if they put that out in October 2016, what the hell took them so long to read it? Like, basically, we've been like, why y'all suspend Josh Brown for only 6 games? And they're like, oh, hold my beer. Josh Brown is now suspended for 6 games. Right. I will continue reading the statement. The league then placed Brown on the commissioner exempt list and initiated an investigation into those incidents. Following a comprehensive investigation, which included a review of the documents and interviews with Brown and several other people, the league concluded there was a violation of the personal conduct policy that warranted a 6-game suspension. Remembering, by the way, that the 6-game suspension was supposed to be the baseline, the minimum punishment, but the NFL, I don't even know if they know what minimum means. And here's the last line of the statement. Brown was advised of this determination and elected to accept the discipline and begin serving the suspension immediately. He doesn't play for a team. What else was he going to do with your damn suspension? That's the NFL for you. Anyway, Zeke going to play all year in all likelihood. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number right fast. We've been asking people to talk about that time they got hit so hard they quit playing football. Let's hit the phone and talk to Phil in Missouri. Phil, thanks for calling the right time.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I don't know whether you remember Curtis Brown, fellow that just died here 2 years ago.
Yes.
Running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
He was 2 years behind me in high school. And I had played outside linebacker for those 2 previous years, and then Curtis came up as a sophomore. And we were in our first full contact practice, and I thought, we'll just see what this kid's got. Oh, my God. He was a man among boys.
Yeah, pro will make you quit.
Oh, my God. He pancaked one of our defensive linemen, and I thought I had an angle on him and stuck my arm out. That was the wrong thing to do. I still feel that elbow in winter, you know. Oh, my God. And then, he could run like a deer, and he was just gone.
Yeah,
and I was rubbing my arm, and I thought, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
No, those are problems that you don't want. And Phil, thanks so much for the call, man.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. He'll be playing for the Los Angeles Lakers this fall. In the meantime, he'll be on Ball in the Family, a docuseries debuting on Watch, Facebook's new platform for episodic shows. His name is Lonzo Ball. Alonzo, the first thing we got to ask you is, man, how'd your little brother wind up with the Lamborghini?
I mean, it was his birthday, so I couldn't take his birthday gift.
I don't know about that. Like, I'm a younger brother. Older brothers are normally like, how come I didn't get to have that in high school? Your little brother going to be pulling up the Chino Hills in the Lambo.
Nah, he's going to be looking right.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. So, with this television show, like, how excited are you about the idea, or have you been about the idea of having cameras follow you around so much?
I mean, at first it was a little weird, but I mean, after the first 2 episodes, once you get to know the crew and everybody, it became easy because we all became friends and stuff, and we was all, comfortable around each other. So after that, everything's cool.
Now, is this something that you want to do?
I mean, like I said, I think it's cool. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, I want to have a TV show. I mean, I think it just happened organically and wherever we are today.
All right, now let me ask you this, because I work with somebody whose father was a bit outsized in personality, and he wound up becoming a television star. Like, at what moment did you realize that things had changed around your family based upon the attention that your father was getting?
Well, he's always been loud and stuff and always spoke his mind. But that's been the same. Just the only difference was people started putting cameras and TV. I mean, putting them on TV and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. Our family as a whole is the same. It's always been the same. So it really hasn't changed anything at that matter.
All right, it's on to Lonzo Ball on The Right Time. So what's one thing you think that we will find out about your family that we probably can't tell from this distance?
I think a lot of people are going to actually see that my dad's a good person and not as crazy as, he's portrayed to be. I think that'd probably be the number one thing.
Are you surprised that people don't consider that side of it? Because I think part of it on the other side, where people argue on behalf of LeVar, is the idea that you guys are always around each other so close, the difference in your AAU team and everything else. Like, have you been surprised at the way that the perception has been of him?
I mean, everybody has their own opinion and everybody has their own eyes. So people are going to see what they want to see and see how they're going to see it. So, I mean, I really can't determine how the people are going to think, but I know how he is. He knows how he is. And our whole family knows how he is, so that's all that really matters.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. So what is the interaction like with you and your 2 brothers?
Oh, we always been together. So, I mean, we all love each other. We always been there for each other. So, like I said, we've been together our whole lives. So it's kind of the first time that we all been, split up. But, I mean, we're going to all be cool.
Well, how much of an adjustment has that been?
A little bit. It's crazy. Waking up and stuff and not having, Melo running around the house doing something crazy. So, I mean, it's a little different, but I can see him all the time based on the fact that we're still all pretty much together since we all in the same area.
All right, we're talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. A story has come out about saying how the cameras will not be allowed to be with you when you are there with the Lakers. Do you think that is better for you, or were you concerned about having the cameras there?
No, I really didn't care, to be honest. I mean, regardless of cameras are there or not, I'm going to do my job, so.
All right, talking to Lonzo Ball here on The Right Time. Now, one thing your father's always said about you is that he does not add pressure to you because you can handle the pressure so well. Is there any time, though, where the attention that's come for things that aren't basketball has become, like, bothersome to you?
No, not really. I mean, my life's pretty easy. All I do is just go to practice now and work out. So all I do is play basketball, so ain't really no problems in my life.
Well, how much different has the basketball been? Like, at every level, the competition gets better. So when you got to Summer League, how much different was that for you versus playing at UCLA?
Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. That's kind of how it is, every time you move up a level. But it's a lot of fun out there in Vegas, for the 2 weeks we were out there, and I'm glad, we came home with the trophy.
All right, that is Lonzo Ball. Check out Ball in the Family. It's a docuseries debuting on Watch, Facebook's new platform for episodic shows. My man, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Shannon, you going to watch?
I'm curious. I'll watch. I'll tune in and check it out. Why not?
I am curious, right? Like, I think that's probably the best way I could put it is I am somewhat curious because I don't have a problem with the branding as other people have it. Because here's the tricky thing when it comes to branding and it comes to people like LeVar and the fact that they're branding their kids. It is always interesting how we think it is okay for you to take your child to a stranger and allow that stranger to brand your child. But if you are the person who actually does the branding of a child, now all of a sudden we have a problem. It's like our love-hate with capitalism, right? Like, we love the notion of capitalism, but we don't actually like the capitalist. And so when the capitalist is a person who exists in a position that you think of as being loving, now all of a sudden it's a problem. It's like it's almost at that moment that people realize that, like, love and capitalism aren't necessarily compatible. But it's okay to turn, like, the kid over to somebody else and let them go out there and make all the money. That's kind of the dilemma that you wind up with when people talk about, like, NCAA stuff that always gets me is that, oh, okay, it's okay for those guys to get rich off of your child. But don't let you make any money off of your child. Then you are a predator. These other people, though, I don't know what the word is or the name is that you use to call them when they decide to get rich off your child. Like, that's where we wind up in a situation like this. But say what you want about LeVar, man. They've kind of blown this thing up. Like, it's worked. I can't believe how much you know about these kids. That being said, Shannon, I still don't know nothing about that middle boy. LiAngelo.
Right.
I still know nothing about him.
Is he any good?
I mean, he's going to UCLA. What they say about him, though, is he's like a 6'4" power forward. He's that guy. And so, he's going to have to, like, muscle his way through to figure it out or whatever it is. But, he's the one I don't know anything about whatsoever. You know what he looked like? He got a funny haircut like his brother?
Not as much, I don't believe. I guess I need to look him up, right? Because he's the one we really don't know about. Because you got Lonzo was the first. It seems as though LaMelo was the flashy one.
Yes.
Right? I mean, 16-year-old Lambo in your own shoe.
And he's on that Odell Beckham program. Like, that's one thing about it. You got to remember, man, there's a whole generation of kids that think that Odell Beckham thing is what's hot in these streets. I mean, I guess. Like, I'd say this about LeVar. Where LeVar deviates from where I would expect a daddy like LeVar to get down, LeVar let that boy wear that crazy hair. I know Mac Jones wouldn't have gone for that.
Part of the branding, Bo. You got to stand out.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Mac Jones would have been like, that's not part of our branding, actually. You want to stand out, boy, go score 50 points a game. That's how you going to stand out. But you're not going to stand out here with this ridiculous follicular disaster on top of your head.
Score 50 points, or you can score 50 points with a head full of oodles and noodles.
I ain't going to lie, though. You got a Lamborghini. He can have a head full of oodles and noodles if he want, man. Can you, dude? The bright spot about giving the kid the Lambo is only one other person can fit in it. That's the only thing that'll save you from drama. Let me tell you what that means, too. His homeboys will not be riding in the Lambo. If there's only seat for one, it ain't for you, bruh. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Should we take one more of these? We've been asking people to talk about the time that they decided to quit playing football as they got hit so hard. Let's go to Scott in Utah right fast. Scott, thanks for calling the right time.
Bo, football quit me. It's a two-part story in the same game. We were the rich kids from Park City in Utah, so we were everybody's rival. We were playing a school out in the sticks somewhere, and I was 14 or 15. Now, this is the early 90s, so, it was still a real rugged physical game. Being the starting quarterback on a freshman team that's not very good, not a whole lot of fun. So we're getting beat up pretty good. And the first part was physical. So we ran a toss sweep to the far side, and I reverse out, toss it to the running back, start running the other way, faking the bootleg, looking at the play. And I got blindsided so hard by this kid. He was a big Polynesian middle linebacker, and he just stood over me, and all he said was, head on a swivel. So right there, I was like, whew, oh, man. It was butt over tea kettle. So, okay, I got up, I took it. I was pretty scared at that point. So we ran the triple option. I'll never forget. It was 34-0, and he's just coming up between the A gap going, I'm going to get you, quarterback. I'm going to get you, quarterback. I'm going to get you, quarterback. And I remember thinking in my head, like, he's going to get me. So we ran the triple option, and I was looking at him basically the whole time. And I ride the fullback, pull it out. He's coming through the A gap. Closed my eyes, went to pitch the football because I thought I was going to get my head taken off. And here's the mental part. Instead of taking my head off, he just took the football like a handoff, knocked me over in the process, and I was face down on the ground as he ran about 60 yards the other way for the touchdown. And that's when he broke my mental will, and that's when I know football had quit me.
Hey, Scott, I appreciate the call, man.
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back Monday for more, and don't forget